You got a couple options. You can just listen to me talk for the next 2 minutes about this slide and then be on your merry little way to do your work. Or if you'd like to see me do a more extensive um, breakdown of what the mastery coding assignment looks like, I'm going to do that right after I talk a little bit about what we're up to. Today is the last day that we're allowed to teach new content before spring break. So here's what I want you to do. And if you look on Google Classroom, there are 3 classes that you'll download for the mastery coding assignment: item, item grid, and main. Item grid is the only one that requires any code to be written in it. There's 3 methods for you to write. Work on it for 40 minutes today or by Thursday at 4 o'clock and submit your work to me wherever you're at by Thursday at 4 o'clock. If you don't know where to start on one of them, leave a question about it. But I bet you could write 2 of them in 40 minutes if you put your mind to it. Submit this in Google Classroom. This is your assignment and your homework for tonight. Okay. Main.java is designed to help you test it, so you can download that if you want to run it on your code and see if it works. This is a draft that's due by Thursday. Your final assignment is going to be due Thursday, April 9th for mastery coding assignment number 4. So you're giving me your 3 methods you write so far. I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback, and then you'll have another 2 weeks to go home and work on. Thursday is a C day. We're not supposed to have a ton of work. I wasn't going to give any assignments on Thursday. What I was going to ask if I could have 20 to 30 minutes of your time for all 6 of us to meet on Google Hangout. And then we could talk a little bit about the changes to the AP exam that they're making, and I could answer any questions that you might have and tell you what life's going to look like a little bit after spring break. Plus answer questions you might have about like what the schedule looks like. Okay, so I did send out an email today. This will be our last group discussion email. It asks you for a movie recommendation with the trailer, and then it also asked if you're available at that time on Thursday. So please let me know if you're available to meet. I'll change the time if people aren't. That'll be our last class before spring break. Again, if you have questions on the mastery coding assignment or on like about life, or you just want to hang, or you're not too tired of me playing guitar and want to sing along a little bit today, then you're welcome to pop by office hours. Let's take a look at your mastery coding assignment. First things first, if you go to Powered School, the rubric is at this link, B. The rubric is also available on Google Classroom at the top, whichever way you want to look at it. I'm going to go ahead and pop open the one on Google Classroom or on Heku. And also, if you click any of these, it's going to open up a reply.it link that has 3 files in it: item, item grid, and main. You can copy all 3 into Dr. Java. Just make a class with the same name and copy and paste your file. And the only one that needs to be edited is item grid. If you want to test to see if your code works, I've made a little test case thing in the main class, and that'll help you to do that. I promise they'll load. We'll go ahead and come back here in a minute or so. It should be open here already. Main's a test case. Item is a class that has some basic information. An item grid is where you're going to write your 3 methods: is valid, most valuable neighbor, and find error. Let's take a look at what this thing entails. If you like, I'll go ahead and read through all of it. I'm at the problems right now. You can even open up your own copy of the document if you want to look while I read through. The item class has the following structure. It has a private string name and a private int value. It has a constructor that saves both of them, and the methods getName and getValue, just in case you want. Okay, this would be really helpful First, say if you were working at a store and you wanted to have an item with a name and with a value of how much it cost, and you wanted to know where all these items were on a particular shelf. The item grid class uses the item class because it makes a 2D array of items named grid. 2D array of items named grid. Just like our bell work today used a 2D array of items named plot. Grid might look something like this if you were going to visualize it. It has a number of entries with what particular type of thing they are, and a number for how much that thing is worth. Okay, you have 3 methods to write item grid. The first, part A, what I'm looking at before, is a Boolean. Public Boolean is valid in X pose and in Y pose. It stands for an X and Y position in an array. Returns true if X and Y are a valid index of the item 2D array grid. Returns false if the numbers are outside of the index of the array. So the first thing this is really doing is just telling you whether these numbers make an array index that makes sense, right? If it's 0, 0, or 2, 0, 0, 2, or 2, 2, or 2, 3 for this array, it's going to make sense. If you put in negative 0, 1, 0, if you put in negative 2, negative 2, if you put in 7, 8 for this array, it wants you to return false. The only thing is you have this array named grid, but you don't have the exact size. You got to use what you know about the size of a 2D array to write that is valid. Then there's the tricky one. Public string, most valuable name. I'm actually going to change this briefly. The 2 methods stand for the row and column. Write the most valuable neighbor method, which compares the item in row R and column C to the items to its left and right. The method determines which of the 3 items has the greatest value and returns it. So here's how that works. If you type in kale, or if you type in indexed row 2, column 3, it's going to go to kale. Then it's going to look at kale and it's going to say, okay, I have a value of 8. It's going to look at jacket, which is to its left, and say, okay, jacket has a value of 19. And then it's going to look at lunch, which is to its right, and say lunch has a value of 16. It picks out jacket as being the greatest, and it returns jacket's name. Because it returns a string value. Public string most valuable neighbor. It will return the name of the most valuable of the 3. If the item has no item to its left, it is compared only to the item to its right. The item has no item to its right, it is compared only to the item to its left. Use the isValid method to check for this. Use it. So, if you type in island, it should realize that isValid returns false for this thing and only compare it to jacket. If you type in desk, it should realize that isValid returns false for the right, true for the left of caret, and it'll just compare caret to desk. The table below uses the table above and explains what would be returned in various cases. Last but not least, part C, find average, finds and calculates the average value of all the items in the array, returning it as an integer. This is pretty similar to some of the sum ones that you've done already. Use your knowledge of looping through arrays to sum through together, add all of these up, calculate the average value of the items. There's a little rubric at the bottom. The first 3 categories have your 3 methods written and talk about specific things that I'm looking for in those methods and also test cases for them. The other thing I want to make sure that you're doing properly is using the methods from the item class. If you look at the item class at the top, it's got get name, it's got get value. Make sure you're using those and comparing them in the appropriate way. And you're also using the appropriate for loop structure to loop through the arrays. There's one set of comments I want you to make on these. Leave comments to explain the role of each for loop that are descriptive and correct. So if you're making a for loop to search through things, leave a comment to show how it works. Tuesday, you've got till 4 p.m. on Thursday. Email me if you have questions. Work for 40 minutes, since this class is supposed to take about an hour, and we've taken about 20 minutes together so far. Upload your item grid code to Google Classroom, or whatever you have, and I'll comment on it and give you some feedback. And feel free to drop by office hours today if you're not tired of this. Anywho, have a great Tuesday, folks. See you soon. Hoping to see you on Thursday.